Hi there, my name's Vince from mymatevince.com, and in this video today I'm going to talk about a few different ways of how you can use your Switch in the vertical position like this, so up on its ends. Now obviously normally you would play the Switch like this, and it's a little bit uncomfortable to lean over and play it like this. The kickstand only allows you to have it in this orientation, not this orientation. So I'm going to show you a few different ways. Now certain games really lend themselves well to playing it in this way, such as this pinball game here, because you can see it looks just like a pinball table when it's in this position here. Also, some of the older arcade games used to have their CRT screens turned up on end because it made the gameplay better. So for example, Donkey Kong, Punch-Out, games like that, they look better when they're in the vertical position. Now you might have noticed that in the last week or so there's been a lot of talk about this on the internet, and that's because there is a new thing being released on Kickstarter called the Flip Grip. Now of course when this comes out, get this, there's no point in mucking about doing your own when you can get this, but this isn't going to be out for a while yet. This, I believe, is only $12 on Kickstarter. I don't know when it gets released to market how much it's going to be, but that is an absolute bargain. And what it allows you to do is you just slot your Switch into it and then you clip the Joy-Cons into either side. So it's a very simple design, but it's nicely done. It's got a few limitations on it which you can read about, but for example it covers the power and the volume buttons, but then again it's not such a big deal because all you've got to do is hold down the home button and then it will bring up those menus anyway. So you've got the volume here and the brightness to play around with here as well, so it's not really an issue. Now what I've done is I've just come up with a few bodgy ways of doing it yourself, and that's what I'm going to show you in this video, going from the very simple to the slightly more involved. So let's get started. So the first very simple way is just to use a stand. So I've got this stand here. Now this is sold as a Nintendo Switch one, but normally you would have it like this. Okay, and you can see that it's nice and stable. Obviously when you put it up on its end there, it becomes less stable because it's more top heavy. But what you can do is you can just put this stand right the way down and you can actually rest it on the ground there. And then if the Switch was to fall, it's not exactly falling from a great height, it's only going from there to there. So it shouldn't really do damage if you're going from that height there. Right, okay, so obviously you do all this at your own risk, but you can still angle it to whatever position you want. And there you go, now you would be able to play your game in this orientation here. Okay, so you get the idea there. You can play that really easily in vertical mode by just using a simple stand. Let's do another one. So the idea here would be some kind of case for the Nintendo Switch that you could just use as normal because the majority of games are going to be played like this. You could also use this in tabletop mode like the case was designed for, and as well as that, then if you did want to play a vertical game, what you could do is you could just slot your Joy-Cons onto the side like so, and then you see you would play it in this orientation here, and you can fold the cover back on itself so it doesn't irritate you. Right, okay, let's go to Namco Museum. Right, if you have a look now, can you see here how you've got more screen because it's in this orientation? So if this was horizontal now, you're not going to get the same amount of screen space as you would do when it's in the vertical position. So all I've done here is I've just used the metal straps there from the Joy-Con grip, and I've just glued them straight onto the side of the Switch. Obviously there's major design limitations. You haven't got access now to the charging port, so when you do want to charge it you're going to have to take the Switch out, but still you can see if you were desperate to play the games in this way, then you have got different options until that proper flip grip gets released. Right, let's move on to another one. Now what happens if we just wanted to play with just one Joy-Con attached to the bottom of the screen, playing it in this orientation here like that? Well, it is possible, but it's a bodge way of doing it. So as soon as we attach this to here, we can no longer play this as a separate Joy-Con because it rightly knows that it's connected to the Switch. Now the reason it knows it's connected to the Switch is because there is tiny little gold pins just there. You can just see the gold pins here, and those gold pins marry up with more little connectors, gold pins, down at the bottom of the Joy-Con rail. So what we can do is, now obviously there's a risk of damage in your Switch here, and Nintendo would obviously not support this, but what we can do is we can just cut a very tiny strip of paper like this. So right now I've got this controller here synced up as a separate controller. So if you have a look here, change grip order, it's just working on its own in its own right. So what we would do is we would just get this and then we would plug it in to there like so, and then we can just fold it over like that. And just by doing that, it will now stop this from connecting. So listen, can you see it's still locked into place, but it hasn't connected, so we can still use this as a single controller. So like I said, a complete bodge job, but it does actually work. So now if we were to go to, I'm going to have to rotate this game again and again. There we go, now we're the right way round. So now we can play it like this. Now it is extremely top heavy, so it's not comfortable. But if you were sat down, then you could rest this on your legs, or if you were, you know, lying down, then this could be rested on your knees if you've got them up in the air. If you were playing this for any amount of time, your hands are going to get tired because you really want to be holding it here, but you're holding it down on the ends here. So it's not ideal. This is just an example. Right, okay, let's go back to back. And if you have a look now, yeah, you can see that it is more than playable. And you wouldn't be able to do this without the bit of paper, because the Switch thinks that this Joy-Con is not attached to the Switch, just purely because that bit of paper is stopping the contacts. Yeah, so it is playable, but as I say, if you were doing a long session on this now, your hands would definitely get tired. I can already feel my wrists, you know, under a little bit of pressure there because it's pulling it down this way. But still, there you go, it looks kind of nice like that, doesn't it? I think it looks good. Right, okay, let's show you the last one. And just before I show you the last one, just in case you're worried, watch this now. Unplug that there, and then, there you go. Did you see that come up there? Put a bit of volume up so you can hear it. Yeah, so you know now it's working again just fine. Right, okay. Right, lastly we have this monstrosity here. So as you can see, I've got the Joy-Cons in the Joy-Con grip, and then what I've done is I've just attached on, this is like a mount for tablets that go into your car. So normally there's another attachment here that would go onto the headrests in your car so the back seat passengers can watch something on a tablet. Well, with this one you will also be able to make it work on the Nintendo Switch. So look, I can make it small like that, so if I did want to just have it sideways, you can play it like this. Yeah, okay. Or if you want to make it vertical, then what I can do is I can just simply extend this up to however much I want, and then it's still got extra movement on top there. Okay, so this would also be handy if you were to sync these up to, for example, a tablet. So let's now put it in there like so. And you can see now, especially if you make it so it's under a lot of tension, that really isn't going to fall anywhere. That is secured in there very well. Right, okay, let's do another one. Okay, so with this one now, you can see I've got plenty of adjustment here, so you can have the screen tilt it to wherever you want it to be, wherever you feel comfortable. And when it's in this orientation here now, it does make the game better, because it looks nicer like this, because you have a lot more screen to view than when it's horizontal. So this kind of reminds me of an old Space Invaders game that my older brother had when I was a kid. It was around about this size and it had the controls on the bottom of it here. So yeah, if you've got any ideas about other ways of doing this, add it to the comments, because people viewing this might want to set something like this up. Obviously, I just did these prototypes very quickly, and I didn't spend a huge amount of time or any money on them. These were just things that I already had lying around the house from other projects. So if you've got other ideas, add it to the comments, or if you like any one of these in particular, again, add it to the comments, because it's just interesting to know. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and hopefully it will help you guys out. Obviously, I'm not saying that these are better than the flip grip. I'm just saying that there's alternatives out there, but of course, get the flip grip. I'm going to be getting one if it does make it to market. Hopefully it will. I'm sure it will. It's got a lot of backers, so it'd be interesting to see how much it is when it comes out. But if it's going to be around $15, then that's very cheap, and it's kind of madness not to get it. for those games that you do want to play, like Donkey Kong and Punch-Out, and there's going to be more being released in the future. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and please subscribe for more how-to videos.